Okay, we'll get right to Utah Schools for the Deaf and Blind. As this is important that we stay caught up on our monthly budget reports and that. So we'll turn the time over to USDB's Finance Director, Carl Empey. For your monthly budget report.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and board members. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm here to present the 8 months financials that end in February 29th. I've got a good financial report. We've got 8 months is about 2/3 of the year. Our revenues were $27.3 million, which is about 65% of our anticipated revenues. So we're right on track where we want to be. Our expenditures are $25.5 million, which accounts for 59% of our anticipated expenditures, giving us a surplus of about $1.8 million. So everything looks healthy. We're on track, and we don't see any problems whatsoever right now. And we're in the final stages of preparing fiscal year 21 budget and should have that wrapped up by the end of the week. The number of students served at the end of February was 1,666 students. Our land grant enrichment fund balance as of the end of February is $1,188,786, and our donated funds is $1,283,460. That is the financial report summary. In your handout, we've got the next attachment is the budget status report that gives all the supporting detail for those revenues and expenditures that I referred to. Does anyone have any questions at all?
Questions from board members?
Board member Cannon has her hand raised.
Okay. Member Cannon.
Yes, I just have some questions. Could you tell me, I just would like an update on what's happening with the statewide ASL course, and I'd like to know what G-Note is, or GenNote.
G-Note is the music program that the School of the Blind uses to teach music. Apparently, it's very successful, and I think this is our second or third year of doing it.
Thank you. That sounds great. And can you just update me? This really isn't about the budgets, but I saw them on your finance report and thought, tell me the status of the statewide ASL course.
Maybe can I defer that to Superintendent Coleman on his report?
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll save that for Superintendent Coleman. Any
Board
other
member
questions from board
Belknap.
members?
Board member Belknap has a hand.
Okay. Board member Belknap.
Thank you. I just have a question. If you have written plans for what you're going to do with your carry forward.
Yes, we've got a plan for last fiscal year, and we're just developing and finalizing the plan, Board Member Belknap, for what we're going to do with this year. We've got anticipated about 1.6 million in carry forward projects, which mainly are facilities and improvements.
Okay, so Chair, can I keep going?
Yes, well, yeah.
So Carl, so that this money can be used for capital outlay?
Yes, it can be.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any
Questions or
other
comments from board
questions?
members?
No new hands raised.
Okay. Did you have any more you wanted to add, Director Empey?
No, that's my financial report for the month.
Okay. Thank you for what you do here. We appreciate work that happens on your financial reporting, and let's keep up the good work there. Looking forward to your budget, your next year's budget also. Look, we'll turn the time over to Superintendent Coleman for Superintendent's report.
There it is. Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. It's nice to kind of see you today. Thing I might mention on our carry forward is that the state asked us to give all of that back to them this year temporarily because of the delayed tax revenues, but I'm sure you're facing that at the board office as well. So let's see, our superintendent's report, we only have a few key items. And the first is just more of a business item we have in your packet. An item called the USIMAC web-based ordering system. Instead of using antiquated forms and so forth, all the schools throughout the state now can go right online through our portal. It's very great. And they wanted me to mention that to the board, so they were aware of that. We're finally at that point, which is a good thing. The second item I have is the accreditation summary. And then the last item I have is a report on how our students are actually doing during this time, our teachers and our students and our operations. The accreditation summary is actually exciting. And we just got the document a couple days ago, so it was too late for your board packet. So I just emailed it to you this morning. But it is an outstanding report. And I'm going to just take a minute to brag. If you happen to have that pulled up from your email, you'll notice there are all of the items and they are color coded. Red is insufficient, yellow's initiating, green is improving, and blue is impacting. And all of our items were blue except for one green. And you just scroll down through that and visually it is striking. And then if you go all the way down to the institution IEQ, which is kind of the GPA, I guess, for schools, the average range is between 278 and 283. USDB scored a 387. I mean, literally off the charts. And there were some nice things. I thought I'd draw your attention. There's a page called Insights from the Review. And they just said, in summary, I'm going to read this to you because it deserves to be put on, I think, on the board's record. It's in a little box there. It says, in summarizing the myriad of premises describing the work for the Utah Schools for the Deaf and the Blind, the team had difficulty in deciding what themes were the most powerful capstones of these schools. This is no ordinary combination of schools, and consequently, traditional themes fail to describe what these schools represent. Innovation and a culture of compassion are the terms most frequently used by stakeholders in defining USDB. This institution's services extend throughout Utah, and it is said by a student of USDB, really the biggest thing I want to say is that deaf people, all of us, we have full potential just like anyone else. We can work, we can do anything else anyone else can do. We absolutely can do it. And they go on to say the school governance supports its staff and stakeholders with multiple mentorships, collaborative leadership processes, and engagement of participants in real work projects. There's much more that you can read on your own, but I just wanted to highlight that as a credit to our teachers, our directors and principals, and the leadership of the associate superintendents, as well as our support staff who have been just amazing. And as you know, during the accreditation process, they don't take our word for anything. They go out and they meet with parents, they meet with students, they meet with groups of teachers, and we're not even allowed in the same area of the building that they're working because they want it straight from them. And so it was just really exciting. And I thought as a board, you should take credit for this too because of your tremendous support for us over the years. So that's my report on the accreditation memo. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions from board members on the accreditation memo?
Board Member Earl,
Yeah, I just had a question as far as the survey, how it was conducted. Was that emailed to parents, sent out, or were they parents and educators themselves, or did they come in and actually meet with the organization that did your accreditation? How was that gathered?
They met in person with groups of parents that were not chosen by us necessarily. It was a random group of parents from different campuses and teachers from the different programs and students as well.
Okay.
Any other questions from board members?
No other hands.
Okay, please continue, Superintendent.
Thank you. The next and the last item, I guess, is really the most important thing we'll talk about today, and that is the performance of the students and what's going on recently. We've been using several tools to teach our students, a lot of Zoom meetings where the teachers can meet with little groups of students on their own. Sometimes we use FaceTime when that's requested by parents or whatever tool they prefer. Sometimes we've used phone calls. Our teachers' material, of course, is on Canvas as the learning management system, which we've been using for several years. And it was very gratifying when we on March 13th, when we were first told that we're going to be dismissed for a while, we told our teachers, you're going to have a couple of days of professional development to make sure everything's ready. And as we went back with the administration and met with them, they said, we're ready. We've been using this. We're good to go. And to their credit, they really have been. We get feedback from parents who have students, of course, in the general ed schools saying, it's just not fair. We wish all of our kids were receiving the kind of service and education learning during this time that our USDB kids are. And so that's nice. There's a tool in Canvas called Go React, and it allows for asynchronous back and forth video, so you don't actually have to be live. And our teachers do a lot of their assignments that way, as well as the live class group meetings. We've been using YouTube, and we've actually increased our virtual ASL interpreting. And that reminds me, board member Cannon had a question about the online ASL school, and that has actually been going really well. I think we're up to about 6 courses now that we have completed, and we have other schools during this time across the country that are calling to get trained, and we're collaborating with them. So we'll be able to use their course material, but put it into our own LMS, and our teachers will still control how that learning happens. We just finished working on our budget for next year, and we have FTEs set aside now for the online learning, where they're dedicating either part or all of their time to developing that. Our math curriculum is very strong, and we have several courses that are developed that way. So it's growing every year a little bit more. And now that we have partners across the country, it should develop even faster over the next year or two. The way we're communicating with our teachers is via email, like we always would. Also, there's a weekly sharing session with each division where the teachers get together with their director, and even more often than that when needed. And we actually are using text. We're using our emergency management system to send out information. This morning, we had an incident in Ogden where someone broke in overnight, and the police were chasing him all around in the air conditioning ducts. And we were able to instantly send out a message to everyone, stay away from the campus until the all clear is given. And I thought of all the schools in Ogden, why did he choose ours? But anyway, things are okay there. There's a little bit of damage to our facilities, but we're going to get that repaired. And it's a good time because no students are there. The teachers communicating with the parents, there are probably 98% of our families are doing great, and there's a lot of back and forth. There are a few families who do not have internet access, or they live in an area where they can't get it. We have been dropping materials off to them physically, including iPads, sometimes hotspots and whiteboards and other things. And we're doing literally just whatever it takes to help the learning continue. We've also been talking to our teachers. I sent out a video yesterday morning, and you might have seen it posted on social media, where we talked about the social emotional needs of our students and their families. And so far are that our teachers are very tapped into that. We don't want them to overdo it. We just want them to be sensitive and understanding at this time. Superintendent Dixon mentioned on a meeting earlier this week with all the superintendents that we don't want students isolated even more during this emotionally challenging time and sitting in their room doing 7 or 8 hours of homework a day. We want them to do what they can, but as long as we keep some learning going, the data seems to suggest that the summer slide will still be there a little bit, but we'll be able to make it up. We'll bridge that during the summer, and we'll be ready to go in the fall. The teachers also have submitted pictures and information to the Friday letter. And that letter goes to you each week, but it also goes to 1,300 other parents and stakeholders so that they can be aware of what's going on. And we can demonstrate exactly what's going on. We've made several videos to highlight different teachers in the blind school, in the deaf school, all over the state, and kind of just to get the word out there. And that helps our teachers to see the other teachers who they don't normally get to collaborate with. And we've also told them that even though they're a light and a bright spot in the world of their families these days, we're also concerned about them because we know they're in the same position. And so we're just trying to stay as close as we can to give them support and encouragement. The JMS school in Salt Lake has continued to do daily morning announcements from the principal. They do that virtually, so the kids all get to see that, and the families. And like I said before, a lot of interpreting all over the state via Zoom so that students can access online curriculum. We've also have a folder on our website full of these videos in case, and also the Friday letters that have links to the videos. And so those are kind of some of the ways that we're trying to stay in touch. And the feedback from parents so far is very, very positive, and from the students themselves. They're never shy about sharing what's working for them and what's not. So that's my report on how the learning is going at USDB at this time. We're very, very positive on it.
Superintendent, now, this doesn't conclude your report, or does it conclude your report?
Yes, this concludes my report for today.
Can you speak to, or maybe you haven't rolled it out, the thing we talked about the other day about teacher recognition?
Yes.
Rolled out?
Well, we're going to roll it out on Friday, actually. We're going to go throughout the state and do something very special for our teachers. I'm not going to.
Haven't done it, then let's not talk about it.
Okay, but I will circle back with the board because we will be documenting it, and I will send it to all of you so you can see what we're doing. And it's.
Don't want to ruin a surprise. I thought it was rolled out this past week. Okay. Any questions from board members? I just have a couple comments. Quite a few parents stay in touch with me that have students on the deaf side and the blind side, and what you really gave a glowing report, Superintendent. But I'm getting the same from these other parents that their children are engaged, that your staff is doing everything they can with technology and respecting the social distancing part of it. So I just want to thank you and manage your leadership team, your education community. That outside of this state, I say this quite often. I do business in other states. I like to keep track of what they're doing. The deaf and blind community is just mostly on pause, not all, but mostly on pause. And it's exciting to see that to the challenges we're having, that we're still making education happen. So thank you for your work.
Oh, thank you. That's one of the reasons I was excited about having the accreditation come through at this time, is because I feel sometimes like maybe the board or the public feel like I'm only telling you the positive side. And other than the traditional challenges in schools, we're really not seeing significant problems at this time. And it's nice to have a third party saying that instead of just me as far as credibility goes. And we've even had special training scheduled with these schools in the other states. Like you said, they are on pause. They said some of them have just dismissed, and others are saying, well, what do we do? So we held our teachers held training, and were able to train teachers from other states across the nation, and even from a couple different countries, from Canada and from Saudi Arabia, and other places. And I thought, well, that's really nice for them to feel like the kind of professionals that others would look to for guidance during this time. And it's been, I think, really good for the morale of our teaching staff, especially.
Okay. Well, thank you. Vice Chair Cummins, is there any hands up or any comments?
No.
Okay, well, thanks to both of you, and care and be safe. Look forward to your future reports.
Thank you. Good luck today with your meetings.
Okay.